You're gonna hear about my party, they're gonna be shutting them down, they're gonna probably be arresting me.
Diddy knew an arrest was coming, but what he didn't see coming was how fast his empire would start crumbling. Now with his back against the wall, Diddy isn't going down alone. He's naming names in court and dragging Hollywood into the fire. And trust me, you won't believe who he just exposed on the stand. Let's get into it. The celebs caught in the crossfire.
The day will come when we will name names other than Sean Combs, and there's a lot of names. It's a long list already. And of course, I already know who some of these individuals are, but because of the nature of this case, we're gonna make damn sure that we're right before we do that.
That's one of the lawyers involved in the case, talking about how they're eventually gonna name other people besides Diddy. And then he drops this bombshell.
But the names that we're gonna name, assuming that our investigators confirm and corroborate what we've been told, are names that will shock you.
First up, let's talk about the ones who've been straight up named as defendants in these lawsuits. One of the biggest names is Jay-Z, aka Sean Carter. According to a December 2024 civil complaint, Jay-Z and Diddy are accused of drugging and raping a 13-year-old girl back in 2000 at a post-MTV VMAs party. Jay-Z has denied these allegations hard, and it's important to note that being named in a lawsuit ain't the same as being found guilty. Then we got Stevie J, the producer and reality TV star. He was named in Rodney Jones's $30 million lawsuit filed in February 2024, which claims Diddy used Stevie to groom and entice Jones into homosexual acts. Stevie J has denied seeing any wrongdoing. R&B singer Aaron Hall is another name that's popped up. He was named as a defendant in a November 2023 complaint in New York Supreme Court, accused of sexually assaulting Liza Gardner, who was 16 at the time back in 1990. This lawsuit was filed under New York's Adult Survivors Act, which allowed victims to sue for previously time-barred claims. Harve Pierre, former president of Bad Boy Records, has been accused in two separate lawsuits of grooming, exploiting, gang and sex trafficking a 17-year-old back in 2003. He's denied these allegations. Actor Cuba Gooding Jr. has also been named. Rodney Jones Jr., also known as Lil Rod, accused Gooding of sexual harassment and assault on Diddy's yacht. It's worth noting that Gooding has previously pleaded guilty to forcible touching in a separate case. Some more recent additions to the list include NFL player Odell Beckham Jr. and comedian Drusky. They were both named as defendants in an amended complaint filed on March 7, 2025, by Ashley Parham and two unnamed plaintiffs. Both have denied the allegations on social media. Diddy's son, Justin Dior Combs, has been accused by Jones of soliciting workers, underage girls, and being present during a shooting. His lawyer has called these allegations bonkers. Justin was seen handcuffed during one of the raids on Diddy's properties but wasn't arrested. And then there's Jacob the jeweler, real name Jacob Arabo. He was accused by Adria English in a July 2024 lawsuit of forced sexual intercourse at Diddy's demand during white parties. English claims she saw him ingest narcotics at these events. Jacob has a prior money laundering conviction, but hasn't commented on these allegations. Now let's talk about the celebs who aren't defendants but have been mentioned in these lawsuits. Young Miami, one half of the City Girls, has been accused of being part of Diddy's alleged trafficking operation, bringing drugs, and receiving a monthly stipend as a sex worker. Her cousin is also accused of groping Rodney Jones. Young Miami's representatives haven't commented on these allegations. Kalena Harper, a former member of Diddy Dirty Money, is mentioned as having witnessed Diddy's abuse of Cassie Ventura and later encouraging Ventura to leave. She allegedly received 58 calls and texts from Combs after Ventura filed her lawsuit. Harper has denied some of these allegations in an Instagram statement. Jimmy Iovine, co-founder of Interscope Records, is alleged to have witnessed Diddy punch Ventura at a dinner, but a deal with Interscope proceeded anyway. Iovine hasn't commented on these allegations. Lucian Grange, CEO of Universal Music Group, was originally named as a defendant, accused of aiding racketeering and sex trafficking, but was dropped from the lawsuit in May 2024 with prejudice. Grange called the accusations offensively false and filed a motion to dismiss. Let's not forget the celebs who've been mentioned but aren't accused of any wrongdoing. Prince Harry is one of the most surprising names to pop up. He's mentioned in Rodney Jones's lawsuit, which alleges that Combs' associates gained access to him, but there are no specific accusations against the prince. Nicki Minaj is mentioned in passing, with no wrongdoing alleged in relation to a redacted Philadelphia rapper who dated her. Usher, who we heard from earlier about living with Diddy as a teen, is mentioned as having been at a dinner where abuse was witnessed, but no wrongdoing is alleged against him. Bishop T.D. Jakes is not accused of anything, but is mentioned in Jones's filing, which alleges Combs planned to leverage their relationship to soften the impact of Cassie's lawsuit. There are also several other names that have come up in various contexts, such as the Georgia Mass Choir, Donald Lawrence, the Clark Sisters, and Smokey Norfolk, who are named in relation to professional engagements with Jones, not accused of any wrongdoing. During jury selection, potential jurors were shown a list that included even more celebrity names like Michael B. Jordan, Kanye West, Kid Cudi, Mike Myers, Michelle Williams, Lauren London, Dawn Richard, and Dallas Austin. This doesn't mean they're implicated. It's just to make sure jurors don't have connections or biases related to people who might come up during the trial. There's another aspect of this case that has everybody going crazy on social media, the so-called Diddy list. A viral list has circulated online featuring names like Leonardo DiCaprio, Beyonce, Ashton Kutcher, Paris Hilton, Howard Stern, Russell Brand, Mariah Carey, Jennifer Lopez, Russell Simmons, Usher, and Megan Fox. However, it's crucial to understand that this list is pure speculation and not based on official legal proceedings. During jury selection on May 6, 2025, potential jurors were shown a list of at least 190 names, including Michael B. Jordan, Kanye West, Kid Cudi, Mike Myers, Michelle Williams, Lauren London, Dawn Richard, and Dallas Austin. Specific connections mentioned include Michael B. Jordan dating Cassie Ventura in 2015, allegedly making Diddy mad, and Kid Cudi being alleged as a victim of a 2011 car bombing by Diddy as he was romantically involved with Ventura. Others have no specified relation, and their inclusion suggests potential mentions during the trial, not direct involvement. The involvement of celebrities in the Diddy case has sparked major media attention. Legal experts like Niyama Rahmani, president of West Coast Trial Lawyers, have suggested that attendees of Diddy's freak-offs could be witnesses or co-defendants. This has led to speculation and social media activity, with some celebrities like Usher and Megan Fox reportedly deleting posts, which looks like they're trying to clean up their image. There's one more thing to note. Combs filed a $50 million defamation lawsuit in January 2025 against Courtney Burgess, who alleged possessing videos of Combs assaulting minors, including celebrities. This lawsuit names Burgess, his attorney Ariel Mitchell, and News Nation for airing these claims, which Combs denies as malicious falsehoods. However, this is about Combs suing for defamation, not him exposing celebrities in court. That was a clip from an interview where Diddy looks uncomfortable when asked if he has anything to confess. This was way before all this drama popped off, but it hits different now with everything that's gone down. Now, y'all might have seen some lists floating around online with even more celebrity names. There's a viral Diddy list that includes people like Leonardo DiCaprio, Beyonce, Ashton Kutcher, Paris Hilton, Howard Stern, Russell Brand, Mariah Carey, Jennifer Lopez, Russell Simmons, and Megan Fox. But here's the tea. These lists ain't backed by any court documents or legit sources. They're just speculation based on who's been seen at Diddy's parties over the years. What does all this mean for these celebs? Well, legal experts like Niyama Rahmani, president of West Coast Trial Lawyers, have suggested that attendees of Diddy's freak-offs could be witnesses or co-defendants. This has led to a lot of speculation and social media activity, with some celebrities like Usher and Megan Fox reportedly deleting posts. But we gotta remember, being named in a lawsuit or mentioned in court documents ain't the same as being found guilty. Everyone deserves due process, and it's important not to jump to conclusions based on allegations that haven't been proven in court. Let's now talk about some serious allegations Diddy is facing right now that have sent shockwaves through Hollywood and the music industry. Inside Diddy's explosive federal trial, Sean Diddy Combs, the hip-hop mogul who's been running the game since the 90s, is currently locked up and facing some serious heat. The trial kicked off with jury selection on May 5th, 2025 in Manhattan Federal Court. And the streets are talking, y'all. We're talking charges like trafficking, racketeering, conspiracy, and transportation for prostitution. That's some heavyweight stuff that could put him behind bars for life if he's found guilty. Y'all remember how this whole mess started? It was back in November 2023 when Cassie Ventura, Diddy's ex, filed a lawsuit against him alleging years of abuse. That joint was settled mad quick, like the very next day, but it opened the floodgates. Since then, we've seen over 63 civil lawsuits filed against Diddy, with over 100 people claiming they got some type of beef with him dating all the way back to 1991.
Moved to New York City, and I lived with Sean Puffy Combs for a year.
That's the crazy thing. Now, that was L.A. Reid's idea, right? We're sending you over to something called Puffy Flavor Camp.
Yeah, that's Usher talking about his time living with Diddy as a teen. Wild, right? L.A. Reid really sent a young Usher to what they called Flavor Camp with Diddy.
There you go.
To learn
Flavor Camp.
Yeah,
Flavor
that's
Camp.
what it was called. And you're going to go to Puff Daddy's.
Usher was just a youngin' when he moved in with Diddy, and he saw some things that had him shook. This ain't just about some wild parties, though. The feds came through and raided Diddy's cribs detectives in both Los Angeles and Miami back in March 2024 as part of this sex trafficking investigation. Then in September 2024, they slapped him with those federal charges, and he's been locked up at the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn ever since. Judge wasn't having it with the bail request, calling Diddy a serious flight risk. As for the current situation, jury selection is still going down as of May 8th, 2025. They've qualified about 45 potential jurors so far, and they're looking to finalize that jury with peremptory strikes on May 9th. If everything goes according to plan, opening statements should kick off on Monday, May 12th. But here's what's got the internet in a frenzy. During jury selection, prospective jurors were shown a list of at least 190 names, including Michael B. Jordan, Kanye West, Kid Cudi, and more. That doesn't mean these celebs did anything wrong or that Diddy's exposing them. It's just standard procedure to make sure jurors don't have connections or biases related to people who might come up during the trial. Now let's talk about what these freak-off parties allegedly were. According to the prosecution, these weren't just your average turn-ups. They're described as elaborate, drug-fueled sexual performances that Diddy supposedly orchestrated, involving coercion and threats to silence victims. The indictment claims this was all part of a criminal enterprise that ran from 2004 to 2024, with Diddy's associates and employees involved in everything from forced labor to kidnapping, arson, bribery, and obstruction of justice. If convicted, Diddy's looking at some serious time. Life in prison is possible for the racketeering charge, a minimum of 15 years for sex trafficking, and up to 10 years for the transportation for prostitution charge. But Diddy and his legal team ain't going down without a fight. He pleaded not guilty back in March 2025 to the updated indictment, and they're trying to get the transportation charge dismissed, arguing it's targeting him because of his race and citing the statute's racist origins. They're saying his lifestyle was that of a swinger, not a criminal, and they rejected a plea deal, showing they're confident in fighting this case. Now let's examine the implications of this case, the public response, and what it might mean for the entertainment industry moving forward. Implications and the truth behind the hype. Now let's talk about these viral Diddy lists that have been making the rounds on social media. People are comparing them to the Jeffrey Epstein list, but there's a big difference. The Epstein list was based on actual court documents and flight logs, while these Diddy lists are mostly speculation and rumor. Y'all might have seen some wild posts on X, formerly Twitter, making all kinds of claims. For example, a post by @TheroFootDoc claimed Diddy had sex tapes involving 8 celebrities, including minors, but there's no verification for this, and it's not reflected in any court proceedings. Similarly, @Awakened Outlaw mentioned lawsuits implicating high-profile figures, but again, no court evidence supports these claims. In fact, Diddy filed a $50 million defamation lawsuit in January 2025 against Courtney Burgess, who alleged possessing videos of Combs sexually assaulting minors, including celebrities. This lawsuit names Burgess, his attorney Ariel Mitchell, and News Nation for airing these claims, which Combs denies as malicious falsehoods. So Diddy's actually suing people for making these kinds of claims, not confirming them. Let's break down what we actually know from the court documents and legal proceedings. The current trial involves 5 federal counts against Diddy. 1 count of racketeering, 2 counts of sex trafficking, and 2 counts of transportation to engage in prostitution. The trial is expected to last at least 8 weeks, with jury selection still ongoing until May 12, 2025. The allegations center around what prosecutors call freak-off parties, which they describe as elaborate drug-fueled sexual performances orchestrated by Diddy, involving coercion and threats to silence victims. The indictment alleges a criminal enterprise spanning from 2004 to 2024, with Diddy's associates and employees involved in various offenses. During the raids on Diddy's properties in March 2024, law enforcement seized over 100 electronic devices and interviewed more than 50 witnesses. The evidence from these raids led to the federal charges announced in September 2024. Diddy has pleaded not guilty and continues to maintain his innocence. His legal team has described his lifestyle as that of a swinger, not a criminal, and rejected a plea deal. They're also trying to get the transportation for prostitution charge dismissed, arguing it targets him due to his race and citing the statute's historical racist origins. Now, what about all these celebrities whose names have come up? As we've gone through in detail, some are named as defendants in various lawsuits, some are mentioned as witnesses or in passing, and others are just on lists shown to potential jurors to check for biases. But none of this means Diddy is exposing them. It's just part of the legal process. Let's talk about the impact of all this on the hip-hop community and the entertainment industry as a whole. This case has sparked serious conversations about power dynamics, abuse, and accountability in the music industry. It's also raised questions about the party culture that's been glorified in hip-hop for decades. Let's also discuss the history of these allegations. While the current federal charges were announced in September 2024, the first major public accusation came from Cassie Ventura in November 2023. Her lawsuit alleged years of violent abuse and rape. It was settled for an undisclosed amount just one day after filing, but the damage was done. The situation got even worse when footage from 2016 was leaked in 2024, showing Diddy kicking Ventura in a hotel hallway. Diddy issued a public apology stating, "I was disgusted then when I did it. I'm disgusted now." But by that point, the floodgates had opened, and more accusers came forward. As of April 2025, there are reportedly 63 civil lawsuits against Diddy, with more than 100 individuals either having filed or intending to file claims dating back to 1991. In February 2025 alone, 10 new lawsuits were added ahead of the deadline for New York's Gender-Motivated Violence Act, which allowed victims to sue for previously time-barred claims. The media coverage has been intense, with documentaries like Diddy, The Making of a Bad Boy on Peacock premiering in January 2025, and podcasts like BBC Sound's Diddy on Trial and ABC Audio's Bad Rap, The Case Against Diddy, providing ongoing coverage of the case. But regardless of the outcome of this specific trial, the case has already had a significant impact on how we view power, celebrity, and accountability in the entertainment industry. It's led to important conversations about protecting vulnerable individuals and creating safer environments in the music business. One thing's for sure, this case isn't just about Diddy. It's about a system that allegedly enabled abuse and exploitation for decades. As one lawyer involved in the case said, "The names that we're going to name are names that will shock you. The full truth may still be coming to light." Looking ahead, what can we expect as the trial progresses? If jury selection is completed on time, opening statements are tentatively set to begin on Monday, May 12th, 2025. The trial is expected to be lengthy, with numerous witnesses and a significant amount of evidence to be presented. As the trial unfolds, we may learn more about the allegations, the evidence supporting them, and potentially more about the celebrities named in the legal documents. Given the high-profile nature of the case, it's likely that media coverage will continue to be extensive. However, as responsible consumers of information, it's crucial to rely on verified sources and approach the information with a critical eye. The case involves serious allegations that, if proven true, involve real victims who have suffered real harm. It's important to remember the human element amid the sensationalism that often surrounds celebrity cases. In terms of potential outcomes, Combs faces severe penalties if convicted. Life in prison is possible for racketeering. There's a 15-year minimum for sex trafficking and a 10-year maximum for transportation for prostitution. However, it's important to remember that in the U.S. legal system, all defendants are presumed innocent until proven guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. It will be up to the prosecution to prove its case and up to the jury to determine if the evidence meets this high standard. 8. Here's the real talk. When Diddy's name popped up in them legal docs, he ain't the only one catching heat. Some of the celebs listed, yeah, they could be looking at serious legal smoke if them claims stick. If you're named as a defendant or accused of doing dirt, the feds might come knocking. But even for the ones not directly charged, just being tied to a case this wild, that's a reputation hit you don't bounce back from easy. See, in the industry, your image is everything. One minute you're doing sold-out shows and red carpets, next minute brands ghost you, fans turn cold, and your name's trending for all the wrong reasons. And for some of these celebs who just got mentioned in passing, they might not be in trouble legally, but people still side-eye you when your name's floating in mess like this. Now step back and look at the big picture. This ain't just about Diddy. If what's being said turns out true, the whole industry got to answer for the shady stuff that's been going on behind closed doors. People tired of the silence and the power games. Folks are calling for real change, real protections for the ones coming up, the ones who usually get used and tossed aside. And yo, Diddy's lawyers are saying the charges are racially motivated. They're pointing fingers at the old laws being used, ones that got deep racist roots. Whether that holds up in court or not, it does bring up something real. We've been seeing how the justice system hits different depending on who you are. Ain't nothing new, but this case is throwing it right in the spotlight again. But don't get it twisted. Under all this drama, there's real pain, real victims, people who say they went through hell. So while the media's out here hyping every twist like it's a movie, we gotta stay focused on what matters. Facts over gossip, truth over noise. What are your thoughts on the celebrities named in the Diddy case? Do you think the truth will finally come out? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to click on the cards on screen for more deep dives like this one.